welcome back to the 30-hour review. Today we're going to be doing a chop top leather tutorial, and we're just going to jump into it. This is everything you're going to need. You're going to need a jigsaw, a tape measure, a helmet. I just already went ahead and disassembled that and already threw on some 2-inch painter's tape. That's 2-inch painter's tape. It's 2 inches. Just line it up to the top of your lens box and it should have a pretty good fit. You're going to need a rotary tool. I also highly recommend, if you're going to be cutting your helmet with a rotary tool, to get one of these diamond cutting wheels. That's much better than the little cut wheels, the Dremel ones that just snap all the time. Also face shield and safety glasses, because taking one of those cut wheels to the face doesn't sound like a good time. You're gonna need a staple gun. I don't have the full piece inside my studio right now, but this guy right here, you're gonna need I use a 1/2 inch piece of MDF board. We also got leather. You're gonna need some burnishers. I got one for a rotary tool, and then there's a manual one. This guy's like $3, this guy's like $10. Either one will do it. You really don't even need to do that. That's just optional. You're gonna need a file just in case. I mean, you still got your sand wheels in here. And of course, you're gonna need your leather rivet kit. Step 1, you're pretty much gonna wanna just go ahead, disassemble your headgear, probably take out your welding lens. I'll do that here in a second. And then grab some 2-inch painter's tape and just kind of line it up in this corner, make it as straight as humanly possible, and do that on both sides. Now with the flip, you're going to have these little notches, and I just kind of fold it up and kind of do my best to line it up by eye. And anything that's kind of sticking up or waviness, I'll fix later on. But yeah, so that's step 1 and 2, I guess. Next bit will be cut this off. So after a quick little choppy chop with the Dremel, or rotary tool, I mean, we get a pretty decent line. And now you can throw this away now. Now the next step, we are going to just smooth that out. Use your file, whatever you can. Just get a nice clean edge, clean it up inside and out. And then I'll show you what's next. People have been asking me how you do this. So using like the absolute miracle of rocket science tree, you're gonna lay your helmet where it touches on both ends of your cut, right on the edge. And then, ready for this? I'm gonna use a Sharpie. And this will literally work for any helmet. A pattern. Cut that out, and now you have yourself a jig for that particular helmet.
So here I just used a little bit of masking tape and I drew my layup to drill the holes for my rivets. And that's pretty much what you do there. I also discovered that the red leather I was using was automotive, so like it just had like cloth in there, so it wasn't usable. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby for $5, $5.99, that's what it was, for 3 pounds of just random cuts of leather. So the next step, this is the real first step for the leather working, is just roll it up and put it in like a jar, like a pickle jar full of water. You just want to get your leather completely soaking wet, and you're going to let it sit there, make sure it's saturated for at least like 20 minutes.
Alright guys, so once your leather is wet, as you can see, it's very soft, it wants to fold. You're going to grab a piece of wood that you cut out your jig piece, find your straight edge, lay your leather kind of on there evenly, tuck your corners, and flip it over, and just make sure you get that edge nice and on there. Hold on one second, let me get that better on screen. There we go. Yeah. Now you're gonna tuck this corner, very front of it, and just go ahead and staple that in there. Now, this is kind of hard to do on camera, but I'll try my hardest to do this. You're gonna start pulling on the leather as hard as you can and working your way back and stapling back every couple of inches. Got half of that done. Now do the same side to the other side. Now sometimes when you finish this little piece right here will kind of pull up, and what you can do is just stretch this out a little bit and just add one staple right towards the edge. And there you go. Now what we're going to do is let this sit possibly overnight until it's fully dry, and by that time I'll show you guys how to make the pattern to cut this out. Alright guys, so an easy way to kind of start off and help you make your own jig for cutting your leather, and this is still just a very rough draft. You're gonna make a U, move this over about Now that's not going to be exact, but that's just a generalized idea. From there you can round these corners off, figure out what you want, cut that out, and now you have a little template to kind of know what size and how far you want the leather. So I end up drawing something like this. I put it on a piece of paper and threw some tape on there, and I just kind of designed it or made it so it would hang off, and I would just line up the tape with these edges and just try to line it up and get it as even as possible. I might have to adjust that here a few times, but as soon as I get that lined up, I'll grab a pen or something and then I'll just mark my line, and then I'll be very careful and trace that out with an X-Acto. So I finally got it squared up to where I want it, and then I am just gonna put my pen there, mark that up, and I got my line. So now I've just followed through, cut my design in there, and now we got that up. So I'm going to go through with the X-Acto one last time and even up these ends all the way through before we're going to cut this bottom portion off right there. And by that, we're just going to stick the blade in and then slice it this way. And you know, the edges are rounded off. It's all straight all the way across. Now we're going to cut by sticking the blade in here and then just kind of going out that side and trying to keep a straight cut all the way along. Now I got your piece of leather off and it's bolted, and you know you got it molded. The next step is going to be cleaning up your edges with a razor blade and just making sure you want to bevel it a little bit. You want to cut into the actual smooth face, and also do the same on the back. You want a little bit of this fluffy stuff out, because when we use the burnisher, we're going to seal this edge all the way around. So just clean up your edges with your razor blade, and yeah, we'll jump back to this. So now I've gone through and just taped the piece of leather onto the helmet. I've already gone through and cleaned up most of my edges, got everything lined up to where I want it, and now on the inside I grabbed a silver streak because this is a black leather, and I just kind of plopped it in where the holes I drilled earlier and just marked the leather. Now the reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure that when my leather is fully cured and ready, I can just go ahead, punch my holes, and clean up the edges and get it burnished, and that way, you know, it's just ready to roll and I can rivet it in.
Alright guys, so we're back at it, and we got our leather. We haven't burnished it yet, but we're about to punch the holes on the side of it. Now my holes are a little bit lower than I'd like, so all I'm going to do is find where that hole is, place that hole punch a little bit higher than it, and then use a little hammer and a little wood block, the same one that I just did, and just, and you should have a hole here. So follow your holes all around, and you have your holes over it. Holes. Burnishing's rather simple. You see all that frilly stuff that's hanging on the edge? We want to seal that. So what you're going to do is grab this, find the edge that best fits it, add a little bit of water to the edge of your leather, and then lightly rub this till it's sealed. I'll do that off camera and show you what it looks like. Pretty much just clean up the edges as much as humanly possible. We'll stretch all that out and get it in the helmet on next. So this part can be rather tricky, and what I've learned is to just grab your rivets that you're using, pop them in through the front with this piece sticking out the back, and just do that for the whole front of it. We got all the rivets where they want to be. Now we're going to throw this on our helmet. On the back side, so that's before it's been riveted in. Now if we flip it over, you can see that the pins are in there. So now the next step would be grab your cap pieces. Kind of hard to catch on camera right now. And you're just gonna pop them in place. And after you do that, or I do that to all of them, I'll show you what that looks like. So we got the leather on top. We got the rivets kind of on place. Now, I don't know if someone had trouble with this earlier and they messaged me. So what you're gonna do is grab your leather rivet kit bit. There's this piece, and there's this piece. All you're gonna do is line your rivet with this guy. Place it on your block of wood. Line that up to your rivet on the inside. And send her home. Just like that, that rivet's not going anywhere. So do that all the way around. You should have gone ahead and riveted every single rivet on there. It's pretty nice and tight. Now occasionally you will have a little bit of like a gap right there, and you can use like some all-purpose cement, something like that, to kind of wiggle a little bit in there and then just press it down. This was just rushing and kind of messing up my holes lining up, but yeah, there you guys go. Now just assemble your headgear and you guys should have a fully assembled chop top leather helmet. Alright guys, and that's all about everything you need to do to make your own chop top leather helmet. Please leave a comment, subscribe for the next 30-hour review.